Have you ever wondered why some people seem to fade so quickly after turning 80 while others are still gardening, laughing with great grandchildren, and even taking walks at 102? It's easy to assume it's just luck or good genes or maybe a magic supplement that the rest of us never heard of. But the truth is far more surprising and much more hopeful. Because while genetics may play a part in how long you live, the real key lies in something much closer to home. It's in your choices, your mindset, and your daily habits. If you're in your 70s or beyond, you've probably heard some version of this before. Eat better, move more, stay positive. And while those are all true, they barely scratch the surface of what really happens to the body and mind after 80. What most people don't realize is that there's a quiet tipping point around that age, not because the body suddenly gives out, but because tiny changes that went unnoticed for decades begin to add up. That stiff knee, the forgotten name, the skipped walk, the lonely afternoon, they don't seem like much, but over time, they chip away at something bigger, your momentum. The average life expectancy in many parts of the world now reaches well into the 80s, but here's the hard truth. Once many people pass that milestone, their health can decline rapidly. Hospital visits become more frequent, muscles weaken, sleep becomes harder, and isolation quietly sets in. But here's the part nobody tells you. This path is not set in stone. It's not a guarantee, and it's certainly not inevitable. Because there are people, thousands of them, who continue to thrive well past 100. They remain sharp, mobile, and filled with life. So what's their secret? It's not magic. It's not even complicated. It's a collection of small, consistent habits that add not just years to life, but life to your years. Let me take you through 5 of the most powerful ones. And as you listen, I want you to imagine what your life could feel like if even just one of these became part of your daily rhythm. The first secret is one of the most underestimated: walking with purpose. Not just movement, but movement with meaning. You might think you need a gym or a personal trainer to stay fit, but in truth, the simple act of walking, especially outdoors, is one of the most powerful longevity tools you have. There's a woman I once met named Edith. At 101, she still walked her garden path each morning, watering her plants, waving to neighbors, and humming hymns from her childhood. Her steps weren't fast, but they were steady, and more importantly, they were consistent. Research shows that regular walking improves circulation, reduces inflammation, and even boosts memory. Just 20 to 30 minutes a day, broken into small strolls if needed, can lower your risk of heart disease, dementia, and depression. And it's not just about the body. There's something about putting one foot in front of the other that lifts the spirit. When you move, you send your body a message: I'm still here, I'm still living. The second secret might surprise you. It's not a supplement or medication, it's what's on your plate. People who live beyond 100 tend to follow a way of eating that's simple, joyful, and deeply nourishing. Think of the Mediterranean diet. Not as a trend, but as a lifestyle. It's not about counting calories or cutting out everything you love. It's about returning to whole, real food. Fresh vegetables, olive oil, fish, beans, nuts, herbs, and yes, the occasional glass of red wine with friends. There's a reason why places like Sardinia, Ikaria, and Okinawa are filled with centenarians. Their diets aren't just healthy, they're deeply social and emotionally satisfying. They eat slowly, they eat with others. They prepare food from scratch. This style of eating doesn't just feed the body, it feeds the soul. And you don't have to move to a small island in Greece to benefit. You can start by swapping processed snacks for a handful of walnuts, by choosing brown rice over white, by adding herbs like rosemary or garlic to your meals, not just for flavor, but for the healing power they carry. Now, let's talk about something most people overlook completely: connection, real human connection. One of the most dangerous health risks after 80 isn't high blood pressure or cholesterol, it's loneliness. That quiet, creeping sense of disconnection that makes the days feel longer and the nights even heavier. You might not even call it loneliness at first. You might just say you're tired, or that people are busy, or that you're fine on your own. But over time, isolation chips away at your immune system, your brain function, and even your heart health. But here's the beautiful part: the solution doesn't have to be complicated. It could be a weekly phone call with a sibling, a walk with a neighbor, joining a local book club or church group, even just sitting on your front porch and waving at passersby. Human contact, even in small doses, has the power to extend life and brighten it. In fact, studies show that people with strong social ties live longer and more vibrantly than those without. Now, let's take a look at sleep. It's easy to overlook, especially if you've spent years running on too little of it. But after 80, sleep becomes more than a luxury, it becomes a lifeline. Poor sleep increases your risk for memory loss, infections, weight gain, and even falls. And yet, many seniors struggle with it. Trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking too early. But the fix doesn't always start with a pill. It starts with patterns. Creating a gentle, predictable nighttime routine can make a world of difference. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Take a warm bath. Listen to soft music. Avoid screens, late-night news, or caffeine. These simple rituals signal to your body that it's safe to rest. And when you sleep well, your body repairs, your mind resets, and your energy the next day returns. Don't underestimate the power of a full night's rest. It may be the very thing that keeps your memory sharp and your mood steady. Finally, let's talk about something invisible, but just as vital as any vitamin or exercise plan, your mindset, your sense of purpose, your willingness to stay curious. Because those who live beyond 100 don't just survive, they remain mentally alive. They keep learning, they laugh, they adapt, they stay involved. You might think that growing older means slowly retreating from the world. But the truth is, it's an invitation to lean in, to discover new things, to teach, to mentor, to explore. I once knew a man named Harold who, at 98, decided to learn the harmonica. He said he wanted to play lullabies for his great-granddaughter. It wasn't about becoming a musician. It was about becoming someone who still had something to give. There is something extraordinary that happens when you decide to stay curious later in life. It rewires your brain. It keeps the lights on in places that would otherwise start to dim. Learning a new skill, picking up a forgotten hobby, even solving a puzzle or reading a book, it's not just entertainment. It's protection. It's resilience. It builds new neural pathways. It tells your brain, we're not done yet. And that's the real secret to living well past 100. It's not one big decision. It's not one miracle breakthrough. It's the accumulation of small things that tell your body and mind to keep going, to stay involved, to care. But before we go any further, let's pause for a moment and acknowledge something. Aging isn't always easy. Maybe you've lost people you love. Maybe you've gone through surgeries or setbacks. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and felt like you barely recognize the person staring back at you. That's real. That's part of the story too. But there's a deeper truth that matters even more. You're still here. You're still capable of change, of joy, of discovery. You're not a passive observer to your own aging. You are the author. You get to decide how these next chapters unfold. And even if you've spent decades living a certain way, your body and brain are always listening, always willing to respond to even the smallest new rhythm. Let's talk for a moment about the parts of health that often go unnoticed. Things like the strength of your legs. It may sound simple, but leg strength is one of the most accurate predictors of longevity, not just because it helps you move, but because it helps you live independently. When your legs are strong, you can get up from a chair without struggling. You can carry groceries. You can walk without fear of falling. And falls, as you may know, are one of the leading reasons many people don't make it past 85. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You don't even need to join a gym. Gentle leg lifts, sitting and standing slowly from a chair, or walking up a few stairs a day. These things matter. They add up. They send a message to your muscles. Stay alive, stay active, stay ready. The same is true for balance. Practicing simple movements that improve your stability, like standing on one foot for a few seconds while brushing your teeth or walking heel to toe across your living room, can drastically reduce your fall risk. These quiet exercises are invisible to most people, but they are golden to your future self. Now let's talk about something else, something people shy away from because they think it doesn't matter anymore. Waist size. Not weight, not the number on a scale, but where your body stores fat. Studies have shown that excess fat around the waist, especially visceral fat deep inside the abdomen, is far more dangerous than general weight gain. It increases inflammation, raises your risk of heart disease, and can affect your brain function. The good news is you don't need to starve yourself or follow the latest diet trend. Small, smart choices make the biggest difference, replacing sugary snacks with berries or almonds. eating more fiber, drinking water before meals. These changes don't just shrink your waist, they transform your health from the inside out. And while we're talking about overlooked areas, let's shine a light on something equally important: the power of rest. Not just sleep, but moments of calm. A short nap, quiet time with no phone, a walk without headphones, deep breathing while looking out the window. These pauses allow your nervous system to reset, your blood pressure to lower, your thoughts to settle. There's a tendency in our world to treat busyness like a badge of honor. But past a certain age, what your body really needs is rhythm, not rush, space, not stress, a slower pace, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know how valuable energy really is. There's a man I once spoke with who lived to 105. When asked the secret to his long life, he smiled and said, "I forgave easily, I didn't worry about money, and I walked to the mailbox every day." Simple, isn't it? But woven into that answer are three profound truths: emotional peace, financial wisdom, and daily movement. Sometimes the things that keep us alive aren't complicated. They're just consistent. And that brings me to one final truth, perhaps the most important of all. Your attitude matters more than you've ever been told. People who live beyond 100 almost always share this common trait. They expect good things. They believe life still has something beautiful to offer. They've made peace with what they can't control, but they fiercely protect what they can. They don't dwell on regrets. They wake up with a sense of purpose, even if it's something as small as feeding the birds or calling a friend. Optimism isn't naive. It's healing. It reduces stress hormones. It strengthens the immune system. It even protects the heart. When you choose to believe that something good could still happen today, your body begins to respond as if it's true. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, rooted in science and fueled by hope. You've made it through decades of change. You've weathered loss, experienced love, watched the world transform in ways no one could have imagined, and you're still here. That means your story isn't over, not by a long shot. So what now? Now is the time to reclaim your rhythm, to choose movement over stillness, connection over isolation, presence over distraction. Now is the time to nourish your body with food that loves you back, to sleep like your future depends on it, and to think like the best years might still be ahead of you. Because they can be, they really can. Not everyone will live past 100, but the goal isn't just to hit a number, it's to make whatever years you have left feel full, rich, and real. To make each day count, not by how much you do, but by how deeply you live. If you've ever thought it was too late to start over, to feel better, to be strong again, let this be the day you let go of that lie. You are not too late. You are right on time. You are more powerful than you know. And the body you live in, though it may ache, though it may move slower, is still capable of extraordinary change. You've lived enough life to know that there are no guarantees. Things change, health shifts, people come and go. But one thing has always remained in your hands: your response, your ability to decide, even now, how you'll meet each day, whether with fear or with faith, whether with resignation or quiet determination. Maybe you've already started making small changes. Maybe you've begun walking again, even just to the end of the block. Maybe you've swapped a processed snack for a bowl of blueberries. Maybe you're calling your daughter more often or saying yes to that friend who keeps inviting you to join her book group. If you've done even one of these things, you're already changing the course of your life. And if you haven't yet, you can start today. It doesn't take a perfect routine. It just takes one better choice, repeated often enough to become your new normal. You might be thinking about someone you've lost who didn't make it to 100. Maybe it was a parent, a spouse, a friend, and you wonder, why them? Why not more time? That question is heavy, and it deserves space. But if you're listening to this now, it means you've been given a gift they weren't. More time, more chances, more mornings to open your eyes and say, what can I do with this day? The truth is, a long life isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about creating the kind of life that makes you want to keep going. A life where your spirit feels light, your body feels useful, your heart feels connected. That's the kind of longevity that matters, and it's the kind you have more influence over than you think. It can be easy to believe that aging is just something that happens to you, that you're along for the ride. But your choices speak loudly to your cells. Your beliefs shape your biology, and your habits, especially the ones no one sees, are the quiet architects of your future. There's a woman named Rose who lives in Minnesota. She just turned 104. Her hands are a little shaky now, and her knees don't work the way they used to, but every morning she waters her houseplants. She wears a bright scarf. She reads a poem out loud to herself. And every night before she sleeps, she whispers a prayer of thanks for the day, for her body, for her memory, even for the aches. She once said, I don't think my body knows how old I am because I still treat it like it's young. That's the kind of spirit that carries people into their second century of life. Not denial, but devotion. Not fear, but attention. She doesn't rush. She doesn't resist the years. She honors them. And in doing so, she gives them permission to keep showing up. So how do you carry that same spirit? You begin by noticing. Notice the days you feel strong and what led to them. Notice the days you feel tired and be gentle with yourself. Notice the foods that give you energy, the people who lift you up, the habits that ground you. Pay attention to the little things because they are the big things. You don't need to overhaul your life to add years to it. You just need to begin where you are. Maybe that means turning off the television a little earlier tonight or swapping white bread for something whole and hearty. Maybe it means moving your body while the coffee brews, or finally signing up for that class at the community center, or pulling out that puzzle you always meant to start. Even something as simple as standing up a little taller, breathing a little deeper, or smiling at your own reflection can change your chemistry. Your hormones respond, your heart rate lowers, your brain lights up. These aren't just feel-good moments. They're longevity tools, and they're available to you at any time. What science is finally proving is what so many long-lived people have intuitively known all along, that joy matters, that laughter is medicine, that purpose is fuel, that food made with care nourishes more than your stomach, that a walk with a friend is better than any prescription, that a nap can be sacred, that music can heal, that kindness to yourself and others might be the most powerful therapy there is. There's no one right path to a long life. There are many. Some are paved with yoga mats and green smoothies. Others are walked barefoot in the garden with dirt under the fingernails and pie in the oven. The common thread is intention. It's presence. It's waking up and deciding, no matter your aches or limitations, that today still belongs to you. And when you live like that, when you treat your time as something precious, you begin to feel different, more alive, more steady, more ready, not just to live longer, but to live better. And that's the true secret of those who make it past 100. They live better, with less worry, more connection, with simpler routines, more gratitude, with fewer things and more meaning. There will always be things beyond your control: weather, politics, the past, what others choose to do with their own lives. But your breath, your movement, your mindset, those are yours. Every single day they're yours. And the better you treat them, the more they'll return the favor. So let this be your reminder. You don't have to chase youth to live fully. You don't have to fear the years. You don't need fancy programs or complicated plans. What you need is already inside you: the strength, the wisdom, the willingness to keep going, the choice to build a life that supports you at 80, at 90, and yes, even at 100 and beyond. You are not done. You are not too late. Your future is still listening.